So in the previous class, we have seen into how to calculate a machine cycle. What is actually a machine cycle, and how to calculate what is the time period for one machine cycle. Okay, time period for one machine cycle. Okay, time period as well as the frequency. Correct? Frequency also we came to know that for one machine cycle. What is one machine cycle and how much time it is going to take for one machine cycle? Okay, so basically it is one machine cycle is a 12 clock cycles is a 12 clock cycles. Okay, within a complete crystal oscillator that is connected to 8051. Okay, so out of the complete crystal oscillator, say how much, what is the basic crystal oscillator? 11.0592. Okay, megahertz. This is our clock rating, clock speed. Okay, 11.0592 megahertz frequency. So out of this 11.0592 megahertz, one instruction, okay, one instruction is going to be executed. One instruction is executed within means it may take one cycle or two cycles or three cycles, three machine cycles to be executed. To execute one instruction, depending upon the size of the instruction, okay, say some instructions are 2-byte instructions, some instructions are 1-byte instruction, and some instructions what we have 3-byte instruction, and DJNZ instruction is that is a 4-byte instruction. So the size of the instruction is going to be varying. So depending upon that, it may be the clock cycle may be, the machine cycle may be one machine cycle, two machine cycles, or three machine cycles, right? So that is quite relative to the size of an instruction. The size of the instruction is how much memory location it is going to consume in the memory, and the cycle of the instruction means in how much machine cycle it can be executed, means processing. Okay, so when I add R0 comma A, A comma R0, then the processing is there, no? That is adding the value of R0 and the value of A and storing the value again into the A only. So this process is going to be done within one machine cycle or two machine cycle or three machine cycle or four machine cycle. Mostly addition will take two machine cycle. Multiplication will take a two machine cycle. Data movement will take only one machine cycle, and that is depending upon the addressing mode. The branch instruction, jump and ACALL and all those instructions are there, no? ACALL and LCALL instructions. I think that is going to take, we have a table for that, and already we have discussed about that table, instruction table. Okay, if you go through that table, you can understand which instruction is going to consume what, the size of the memory, and how many machine cycles to be executed. Okay, so if I'll show you right now only. Give me a second. I think, what was that? 140. Yeah, here. See, the move instruction is there. move a comma hash data. So direct data is being given. Number of bytes. Look at here. Number of byte means it is the size of one of this instruction. So how much size? 2 bytes of the memory locations are used to store move a comma hash data. Data is going to be any 8-bit value, hexadecimal value or decimal value. Okay, but how many number of cycles it is utilizing to do that? To do the work, it is consuming only one machine cycle. So almost all data movement instructions are using one machine cycle to be transmitted, one machine cycle. And somewhere we have a 2 machine cycles. What is this 2 machine cycles? Okay, direct move rn comma direct. So direct address is given here. So here what is happening, because the direct address is given, first the address has to be calculated, that is the address has to be pointed, and from that address the data has to be placed into any of the RN register. So that is why it is collecting it is taking 2 cycles. First one, data address collection or calculating, and then storing the data from that memory location into the register. So it is taking 2 work. So that is why 2 cycles. Okay, so it goes upon like that. Again, here are some of the instructions which are going to see this is a 3-byte instruction, which is this direct 1 comma direct 2, right? Calculate the address of the first source, calculate destination, calculate the address of the source, and then load the value of second address into the first address. So that is why it is taking 3 bytes, but here both things are 3 things are happening in 2 cycles, so that the calculation of the direct 1 address and direct 2 address is done in one cycle. Address is being calculated, and then the data is going to be copied into another 1 cycle. So that is why 2 machine cycles. So most of the instructions are here for data movement instructions. We have 1, and maximum it is 2 machine cycles. Okay, even exchange instruction is also maybe one instruction is there here. DPTR data 16. So here 3-byte instruction. The size of the instruction is going to be 3 byte. Okay, because it is a 2-byte data plus 1 byte means 1 byte for storing the DPTR. So total it is 3 byte of the data instruction, but it is also consuming only 2 machine cycles. Okay, so like that, machine cycles are nothing but 1 machine cycle means 12 clock cycles. Okay, and within how much it is 12 clock cycle? Within 11.0592 megahertz. This is my total clock frequency. 11.0592 megahertz. So into this, of all these megahertz, one instruction is going to take either 1 machine cycle or 2 machine cycle, or it may be 3 machine cycle also. Okay, it may be 3 machine cycle also. We have some of the instructions which are consuming 3 machine cycles to be executed. So that is why, say 1 machine cycle is 12 clock cycles. Okay, then 1 plus 1, 2 machine cycle is going to be 24 clock cycles. So before, instead of computing for 24 clock cycles, just divide the whole crystal by 12. So what I will get? 921 point something is there, 5 kilohertz. This is the frequency used to execute one machine cycle. Okay, so it means what is the time period? We can easily calculate the time period, no? Right? This value is here. This is one machine cycle. So the frequency of the one machine cycle is 921.56 kilohertz. And what is time period? T is equal to 1 by F, correct? So what I will get? T is equal to 1.085 microseconds. 1.085 microsecond. So for one machine cycle, the time period is 1.085 microseconds. So to execute this instruction, move at Ri, comma A, or to execute this, move A, comma hash data. To execute this, only 1.085 microsecond is enough. So within this time period, this instruction will be completed. The operation will be completed. Okay, understood? Is it understood what is actually the machine cycle is? Okay, so one machine cycle is going to be 1.085 microseconds. And what about the 2 microseconds? Sorry, 2 machine cycles? It is going to take into 2 machine cycles. Okay. Understood? Any reply? It is a so simple concept here. I have a crystal frequency connected 11.0592. Out of that, one machine cycle, that is one instruction, is executed within 12 clock cycles. I have 11.0592 megahertz of the clock cycle. Out of that, 12 clock cycles are used for execution of one instruction. And that is nothing but 921.5 kilohertz. And then it means that 1.085 microsecond, right, to execute one simple instruction. If it is a complex instruction and which is taking 2 machine cycles like this, 2 machine cycles, then into 2. One machine cycle into 2 is 2 machine cycle. Understood? Right. So with this example, now it will be very easy to calculate the time period. Okay. So that how to know the calculation, how to calculate the total time period. So like this, right? We should have the maximum count value minus the initial value 0dh that we will get plus 1 to that, so that we will get, say it will be 13 plus 1, so 14. This was an example that we have seen in the last class. 14 into 1.085 microseconds. So it is going to be executed in one machine cycle. That is why 14 machine cycles it is going to take. From this to this, 13 plus 1. So 14 machine cycles into 1.085 microseconds. That is going to give me 15.19 microseconds. So 15.19 microseconds it is on, and another 15.19 microseconds it is off, and again on and again off. So in this way I have generated a square wave pulse, because T on and T off both are equal, which is called as square wave signal or a pulse signal. Pulse is going to be the variation in the, there is a variation in the on time period and off time period. Say 60% duty cycle. If I want to generate a 60% duty cycle, then the time period for this T on will be more. The time period for this T off will be less, right? And how to do that? That is by calculating the total time period. So let us go through some of the examples here. So easily we can understand uh, how it is going to be calculated. Okay. Say, what is the first step now? What is the first step? You have to go through all the steps. Okay. Mode 1 programming. It is very much important. Many times it is going to be asked into the exams. Okay. Write the steps for mode 1 programming. Write the steps for mode 2 programming. Write the program to generate square wave. Okay. And here they will give the time period also. So depending upon that time period, you have to calculate the value which has to be loaded into the TL0 and TH0. Or if they have already given the value, then you have to calculate the time period, right? See, value is given. Sorry, value is given. Find out the time period. Okay, or else time period will be given. Find out the value. Okay, say, okay, this is the example. Calculate the frequency of the square wave. Calculate the frequency of the square wave. Okay, square wave frequency we have to find. So there is a square wave here. The square wave is there. We need to calculate the what? The frequency. How I can get the frequency? What is the way of finding the frequency? T on plus T off. This is what? A total time period T for one machine cycle, one clock cycle. Correct? So 1 divided by T will be the frequency. Correct? We need to see, calculate the frequency of the square wave generated on P1.5. So this square wave is generated on P1.5. Okay. We need to calculate the frequency of this square wave. I don't know what is the frequency of the square wave. So here, first, in the timer delay calculation of example 9.5. So that is in the previously we have already calculated some points. No, see, remember that. But we did not include the overhead due to instruction in the loop. Okay, we did not use the overhead. Overhead means by leaving only this instruction, if we include all the clock cycles, because each instruction is also going to generate some of the time period, except this loop, okay, this is our main important loop, correct? We are always monitoring the step 3 or step 4, I think step 3. Okay, we should always monitor TF flag bit. Okay, so here Okay, instructions in the loop to get more accurate timing. So to get more accurate timing of one clock cycle, we need to add clock cycles due to these instructions in the loop. To do that, we use a machine cycles from table A1 or appendix A. That is okay, whatever it may be. Now, if we require accurate time period, then we have to add the whole program's machine cycle, how much it is going to consume. If we require only the delay, if you want to calculate only the delay, then this is enough. Okay, so all are overhead. Only this is sufficient, and all other machine cycles are called as overhead. Overhead clock cycles. Understood? What is overhead clock cycle? So now, okay, so we will include all the overhead instructions here. Now, say what is this is the program for timer. So first we will write that also. Move what tmod. This is common for mode 1 programming, okay? tmod comma hash 01h. Okay. Now tell me, listen here. Now tell me, I am using timer 0. That is why I am writing 01h. If I want to use timer 1, then what will be the value which has to be loaded into tmod register? Can I expect a value? Result answer? What is the value I should write here to work upon timer 1 mode 1? Timer 1 mode 1. No reply. Okay, it is so simple. Instead of 01h, what I will write? 10h. Right? So where the upper 4 bits are related to T1, timer 1, lower 4 bits are used for T0. This one we have already come across. So instead of TL0, TH0, what should I write here? TL1, TH1. Understood? Is it understood? No? See, in the examples, they have not written all the instructions. By default, now we are working upon timer 0, mode 1. Mode 1. So now it is going to be 01h. If it was timer 1, mode 1, then it would be 10h. Okay. Find out the difference between 10h and 01h into the value of tmod register. Have you Got it? We have already discussed T-mod register and still you people are in confusion and not replying to any of my question. Why is that so? You're not understanding it. Are you? Am I audible? Okay. However, if at all, if you not understanding, yes, sir, not understanding. Okay. At least you tell me that if you are not understanding, I will repeat the things to make you understand. Okay. See, default, what we are doing now. What we are doing, we are working upon mode 1 programming. Okay, so these are the steps for mode 1 programming. Okay, so if it is a mode 1, what should be the first step? Load the tmod value register indicating timer 0 or timer 1. See, we can go for either timer 0 or timer 1, right? Then what should be the value of mode? See, there are two mode bits in timer 0 as well as in timer 1, right? Lower 2 bits. At least remember the timer mode register configuration. See, say if I am working upon timer 0, right? This is a timer 0. This is a timer 1. I am working upon timer 0, mode 1. So this is going to be 0, 1. See, by T bar, it should be 0. Gate, it should be 0. Here, I am not using this. So 0, 0, 0, and 0. Okay. You can say that, sir, timer 1 is 0, 0. Timer 0 is 0, 1. Then it means that I am working upon timer 1 also, no? Mode 0. Mode 0, but timer 1. Correct? But what I am telling, we are using mode 1, but timer 0. Even this is also valid. This is also valid. But in the program, what are the registers I am using? I am using the registers of timer 0. I am loading the value into TH0 and TL0. So that is why these two are inactive. These two are in the active mode. And the timer 0, as I am not using any of TH1 or TL1, maybe TH1 and TL1 are mode 0 operation, but I am not working upon TH1 and TL1, but instead I am using TH0, TL0. If I want to use TH1 and TL1 into mode 1, then here what I have to write? 1. And here I will make it 0. And I will not use TH0 or TL0. I will use TH1 and TL1. So these two will be in the active mode. And what is the mode? It is going to be mode 1 operation. So what is the value now? 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. So it will be 1, 0, H. So before it was 0, 1, H. So 0, 1, H is where I am using TH0, TL0. So timer 0 and mode 1. If it is 0, 0, 0, 1 and 0, 0, 0, 0, then it is the total value will be 1, 0. It means that I am using timer 1 and mode 1. Okay. If I want to work upon timer 0, mode 2, what will be the value I should load into the T mod? It is going to be 1 and 0 here. It is going to be 1 and 0. It means 0, 2. 0, 2 will be T0 mode 2. If it is T1 mode 2, then it is going to be 20H for timer 1 mode 2. Understood? See, these steps are very much important. These steps are very much important. Okay. So here, I'll tell you that now we are using, what is the value of T mod? T mod value is, I am using TL0 and TH0. So that is why T mod value will be comma hash 0, 1H. Okay. Say I'm not considering it. This will also take 2 clock cycles. Okay. 2 clock cycles. Now, move TL0 comma hash F2, move TH0 comma hash FF. So total 4 machine cycles. Okay. And what is the value? T0 value? T0 value is now, it is a 16-bit. In the mode 1, it is a 16-bit timer. Okay. So what is the total value? F2. Then complement P1.5. So it will take only 1 machine cycle. A call delay, it will consume 2 machine cycle. SJMP here, it will consume, this is the same program that already we have seen in the previous example. Okay. So this is also, this is 2 machine cycle. Say set bit TR0, 1 machine cycle. JNB TF0, comma again. So here it is going to be, whenever I set TR0, this will start incrementing. Correct? Maximum value will be FF. Okay. And when it goes from FFFF to 0000, 0000, then so total from FFFF to 0000, how many? 14. How do I come to know that? So maximum number minus initial value, FFFF minus FFF2. So that is 13. 13 plus from this to this, that is also equal to 1. So 13 plus 1. So total it is 14. Okay. So that is why 14 is written up here. Clear TR0, 1 machine cycle. Clear TF0, 1 machine cycle. Return 2 machine cycles. So total only these, it will total how many clock cycles? 28 machine cycles. If I include these two, it is not written, but still if I include that too, it is going to be 30 machine cycles. But though I have not included this, I am considering it by default. Okay, so that is why total time period for execution of this whole program is 2 into 28 into 1.085 microseconds. Okay, so that is why, see that total 60.76 microseconds. And what is the frequency? 458.2 hertz. Why it is 2 here? Because on and off. One time on, another time off. So that is why 2 times. To calculate one frequency of this clock cycle, what is the frequency of that clock cycle? It is 16,000 or 16.45 kilohertz. 16.45 kilohertz. Yeah, I will explain you. Give me a time. So after this section, you have to join once again. Okay, I'm going to take it quite more time. Let me take the attendance here. Okay, see that. See, up to this you understood how it is 14. How it is 14, correct? See, what is TF0? TF0 is always 0. So jump if no bit. Yes, it is no bit. So that is why we are jumping to again. Where is again? It is here only. Right? So we are repeating here continuously. We are repeating here. We are executing this instruction continuously. One time if it is executed, one machine cycle. Another time it is executed, another machine cycle. Another time it is executed, another machine cycle. Okay, so total how many times it is going to be executed? 14 times it is going to be executed. Why it is 14 times? Because of this. Because the timer T0, TL0 and TF0 are there, no? They are incrementing one by one whenever this is going to be executed. Okay, whenever it is being executed, so it is incrementing one by one here for every clock cycle, for every machine cycle.